EGM Network.
Treasure Coast Connector. Connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I want to just say a thank you to Libby Weissman for partially sponsoring this episode. She and her team at Senior Transition Navigator and Luxury Homes of the Treasure Coast, they work with seniors and their families. They help them with transitions and services, including downsizing, decluttering, packing, moving, relocation, and more. Give Libby Weissman a call at 772-783-2800 for a free consultation, or visit seniortransitionnavigator.com or luxuryhomesofthetreasurecoast.com. Now, clear communication, telling stories that get attention is what drives business success. Joining me in the studio today is Helene Kelly, and she is the founder of Clay Communications and Marketing, and she's a best-selling author and an expert at crafting powerful brands and connecting with people authentically. So she's here to talk about how she helps people and businesses achieve their business goals. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ellen. It's so nice to be here.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you here because all of the work that you do and what I learned about you, we're going to get a lot of attention on you, okay, in the next coming weeks, months, and years. Okay, so before we talk about all the work that you do, what inspired you to co-author Unlocking Success, and how has that journey impacted you with your business and your life?
I had been a fan of Jack Canfield, the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, for years. Mm-hmm. I've done his podcasts, I've attended his conferences, and I was really inspired by him and his story. He started out very poor and some real challenges and just rose to international success. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, if he could do it, I could do it. And I had an opportunity to co-author a book with him, and I submitted my information and I was selected, and it became a bestseller within 6 hours after hitting the book stand. So it was certainly unexpected, but just a wonderful, wonderful surprise.
And I have to say, I'm actually not surprised, given the fact of how Jack Canfield has touched so many people's lives, that I think anytime he puts anything out there, people just really eat it up because it helps so much. And that's what this book is doing too, Unlocking Success. And later on, we're going to talk about how that is helping your clients. You're really able to dig into what they're doing and how to get them to the next level.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. I had started my career right out of college. I had gone to a really good school in Boston, mm-hmm. and then got into the business right out of the gate. And I remember at that time, there were 250,000 other students graduating in the Boston area because of all the colleges. And so it was super competitive. Mm-hmm. So I remember going to a headhunter's office, and I had dressed the part. I had my suit, my portfolio, my resume. And as I'm pitching myself to this person, she said, you need to cut your fingernails, learn how to type, and you'll be lucky to get an admin position.
Oh.
And I remember thinking, as she's talking, this isn't the path for me. I just know that this is not the path for me. Yeah. And I'm just so grateful that I had that inner conviction and mm-hmm. that knowing that there was something bigger for me. And I ended up taking a cocktail waitress job just to pay the bills, and vowed that I would send out 10 resumes mm-hmm. every week. And it took about 6-8 months, but I ended up landing an entry-level management position, making probably $15,000 more than this headhunter said that I would get.
Well, good for you. I'm sorry. Did you go back to her and go, nah? I mean, part of me would like to, send her a little email, hey.
I thought about it.
When I'm ready to hire, I'll I'll reach out to you. You can send me some applicants.
I did think about that. No, I did think about that. Sometimes they say, I just knew that one of the things that I knew is that I had to stay focused and keep moving forward. But I think that that's just a great lesson, particularly for women in business. Don't let other people derail you. And
that's why you're here where you are now. And you've helped so many people. And when people hear your story, exactly like just this little piece of it, then they realize, wait a minute, she is the person that I need to talk to because of the conviction that you tightly held on to. So that's really good. And so this is a perfect segue because you have been in business for over 25 years. So share with me a lesson about staying resilient and relevant, please.
Yep. So, like I said, it's really important to stay focused. I set goals for myself, both business and personal goals every year. And I make a vision board and I make lists and I stick to those. Now, life happens. Things happen.
Sure.
People get sick. People pass. We have to move, the economy. So I remain fluid and flexible, but I stay vigilant to my goals, my success goals. And I think I also find it's really important for us to surround ourselves with people who support us and who are positive and see our true value and speak our true value. I have what I call a tribe of women that I've known since my 20s. And they're all super successful and we support each other. We're there for each other. We tap into each other's career experience. And several of them are just brilliant. So when I have questions about which way to go and what to do with my career, I pick up the phone or I grab a coffee.
Yeah, because you know what? People that get to know you after a while and they have a certain level of success, they're on the outside of what you're facing. And sometimes somebody on the outside can say, oh, did you think about this or that? We're relatively smart women, but sometimes having someone on the outside, that's why people call me the connector, because sometimes I'm looking at somebody else's something and I'm like, oh, this or that. So that is a wonderful thing. Yeah,
exactly. I remember there were times, over the past 25 years where I was incredibly busy, making more money than I ever thought I would, working 15-hour days. I remember a creative director I partnered with, we were emailing each other at 3 a.m. And I remember saying to her, this is crazy. What are we doing? But we were both entrepreneurs running our own business. And then there were other times over the past 25 years where I wasn't sure how I was going to make my monthly bills. Business was so slow, but really I stayed true to what I knew I wanted to do. I fostered that passion. I did whatever I could to keep my business going. And it's worked so far.
Yeah. And vision boards work. And I have a story after the show that I will share with you. But the business landscape, it always changes, right? So when you first started Clay Communications to now, there's been a lot of changes. So what advice do you have for entrepreneurs that are trying to navigate the business world that we're in right now?
I would say one thing for sure is stay educated. I've gone to conferences, I've taken courses, I've done all I could to stay educated and current as things change. When I first started, Ellen, we were producing brochures and all kinds of collateral and advertising in print manually.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. Right. And so today everything's digital.
Yeah.
And it was important for me to stay in front of the curve so that when my clients came to me with the needs, whatever type of branding programs they had or what new product or service they wanted to promote, I was able to bring to the table whatever the latest type of technology was to get their brand out there. And the only way I can do that is if I continue to stay educated.
Yeah, a lifelong learner. That's how I think we all have to be. Especially when you and I were chatting a little bit and you were going into your educational background, and then you were even in Harvard Business School for a while, and then your AI certification. So you really do mean it when you say, I want to know the latest and keep up with what's happening. So, yeah.
Yeah, the course I took last summer at MIT in AI for Business Strategies, I learned from the most brilliant professors, I think, on the planet. And I would have to listen to the video tutorials and rewind 3 and 4 times. Because honestly, Ellen, it sounded like Swahili to me.
Yeah.
I had no idea what they were talking about, but I took my time. It took me all summer. So every Saturday and Sunday. And I live in the summer on Cape Cod, and it's really beautiful. And everybody's at the beach and having a ball. But I stuck to this course because I knew it was going to be a real benefit for me. And I learned so much from these professors and from that course. So, and now I can bring it to my clients.
Well, that is wonderful. And you know what we're going to do? I think what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you more about AI afterwards. But before we cut to commercial break for the first half, for those listening on iHeart Radio and all of the major podcasts, how do they reach, get in contact with you?
So they can visit my website, www.clay-comm.com. That's CLAY-COMM.com. Or they can email me at helene@clay-comm.com.
And Helene, Helene.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But Helene of Clay Communications and Marketing and we have a lot more to discuss. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs, and all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal Coastal Living, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're also the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens and Polywood. We specialize in fire pits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Right now, we're having a spring sale with lots of great markdowns and discounts on everything you need for your Florida home, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street, filled with lots of brand name closeouts and sale items. And visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Hey, you! Host your very own show every week at Evergreen Media Network in Vero Beach. Go live to YouTube and Facebook with up to 4 people and your very own producer. Be heard on more than 15 podcast platforms and local radio. All you have to do is show up and talk. Your guests can join from anywhere in the world. It's easy to get started with the largest podcast studio on the Treasure Coast. Contact Evergreen Media to tour the studio.
Welcome to Riverside Theater's Comedy Zone, where the comedy is wild, untamed, and downright hilarious. Hit the zone this Friday and Saturday night at 6:30 and 8:30 for the Treasure Coast's best live stand-up comedy show, featuring nationally recognized comedians with cabaret-style seating and food and drink table service. Buy tickets at riversidetheater.com and get ready for a night of non-stop laughs.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I am with Helene Clay of Clay Communications and Marketing, and we're diving right back into this conversation. Before the break, we were talking about what are the latest challenges that entrepreneurs are facing, and we started touching on AI. So that's just a whole range of emotions for a lot of people, but what role do you see with regard to innovation like AI and how it plays out in the marketing and business success of a company going forward from here?
What I've learned recently is that there are two camps: people who are all in with AI, and then there's the whole group of people who are afraid of it. And I get that, And so one of the things that I would like to do is to help those people who are afraid of it and don't know how to use it and don't know what it's about, to just give them a quick kind of intro to what it is and how to use it. There's so many tools out there today, and it's hard to decide which one is best for them or their company. And that's an area that I can really help companies with, is to figure out what their specific needs are and which tools are best for them to use. There's free tools, there's subscription tools, so there's a lot. But the way that I approach this is I ask them, what is it that you're trying to do? Are you trying to increase productivity? Are you trying to garner some research? So I find out what their needs are, and then I can custom tailor a solution exactly for what they need.
Well, that is very impressive. And you're right. I don't think that, we should necessarily worry about it. I think we just have to stay just, with that ear to the ground, absorbing everything that is coming out about AI to then determine how can we best utilize it for ourselves, because it's already out. So
Right.
we can't worry about it. We're just going to be resilient. I like that word that you used earlier very much. And I think that resiliency is a key, to success in a person's professional life, whether they're an employee or a business owner. And with that, if you could give one piece of advice for someone trying to unlock their own version of success, what would that be, based on this book, Unlocking Success? Yeah.
My first piece of advice is define what success means to you. Success to me may be different than what success means to you. Early on, success for me was really garnering some type of executive management position, whether it was on the corporate side or the agency side. And then it shifted. Success years ago was about financial success. Homes, cars, travel. And I did all that. I'm so grateful that I can say that I achieved all that. And then it really shifted to freedom. I just wanted the freedom to pick and choose which clients I work for or support. And today I can honestly say I have the most wonderful clients. And I like to tell my colleagues, I only work with nice people. So, I think going forward, success for me would be to help others, particularly women, entrepreneurs, women in business who want to achieve their own success. That's my passion today.
Yeah. And I love that you say that, because that is a very large growing group of people that start businesses every year. And I forgot what the actual number is, but it's a rather high number of women that are embarking on their own. And I agree with you. Freedom is very important to me. That's why at a networking event, if somebody says, "What do you do?" and I say, "Well, I'm a lady of leisure," I lead with that because they want to really know what does that mean. And I explain that I would love to work on projects that I find so interesting with people that I'm enamored by. So that's how I word it. And then I go into the details. And I think that you're a lot like that as well. And I think that leads to, even if we have a 10-hour day one day and a 5-hour day the next day, when we're excited about the work, it makes us feel good. It doesn't tire us out.
Absolutely. It is all about the passion. It's kind of a cliche, but I believe that if we're working our passion, we're going to be good at it.
Most definitely. So for the second half, again, we're not ready to sign off just yet, but give your contact information, because now that we have perked up the ears of these business women, they're going to want to reach out to you.
Well, I hope you do. Jump on my website. It's www.clay-comm.com. That's CLAY-COMM.com. or send me an email at helene@clay-com.com, HELENE @clay-com.com, or feel free to give me a call, 508-221-4544.
And I also want people to know that this show, Treasure Coast Connector, we're on the Treasure Coast of Florida, but you are from Massachusetts. You still go back and forth on occasion, but you work with clients all over the country because with the podcast, people hear this show from wherever they have an internet connection. So you'll work with people in other parts of the country.
Absolutely. Yep. I have clients in New England. I have clients out in Nevada. I have a client out in California, and I've got a wonderful client here in Florida.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And then the book, Unlocking Success, they can find that on Amazon, either under that name, the title, or your full name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And I also have a link to it on my website.
Okay, very good. And then, we have a few minutes left. So I'd like to say, as we're wrapping up, what would you like to close with? Some of your final thoughts to leave with everyone.
I really want to help people. At this stage of my life, you hear people who have had wonderful careers. I've been very lucky to have that. I'm about helping anyone who needs help, whether it's in digital marketing, AI, or just in life in terms of achieving your personal or business success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that a lot. And we have a couple of more minutes. So I'm going to throw a softball question that wasn't on my little list that I had for you. But would you like to share maybe a success story, something very brief about a client that maybe had an issue and you helped them out in a certain way?
Sure. So I had taken on a software client and they were completely unknown, brand new startup. And we worked really hard for 18 months. Our team probably put in at least 12 to 15-hour days for that first 9 to 12 months. We established a brand and we went from complete unknown, selling maybe 10 pieces of their hardware in the first month or two to overselling their product. They went from pretty much about $10,000 in revenue to $8 million in revenue in 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a huge success, total team effort.
Yeah, and that is really exciting. So, of course, what we're going to have, I think there's like 3,800 people watching. Just kidding, there isn't. But I will say that when people hear that kind of thing, it makes them realize, okay, if that can happen for them, she can hopefully help me make it happen and figure it out, which is why I love having you on the show. Super happy about that. And I'm also super happy to again mention Libby Weissman and her team at Senior Transition Navigator, Luxury Homes of the Treasure Coast. They work with families about decluttering, downsizing, packing, moving, relocation, and more. Libby can be reached at 772-783-2800, seniortransitionnavigator.com, and luxuryhomesofthetreasurecoast.com. So give her a call. Talk about helping people get unstuck. That's a pun, helping them move. I'm watching Cindy. She loves my puns, by the way. Yes. Okay. Oh, we literally have 1 minute left. Isn't that good? I'm usually always behind time. So I want to say vision boards. I love the vision board that you mentioned because sometimes when we put things on paper, pictures and words and things, and then we look at that, we figure out in our brain how to solve the problems to make that happen. So I think that that's probably why you like them as well, right?
I think what we think, we become.
Mm-hmm. Our thoughts are things. And with that, now I have to wrap up and say to everyone, thank you for watching Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. I hope everyone has a safe, productive, wonderful week. Until next week, I miss you already.